It's not like the old days, right? Where you can be able to put your claim on a napkin and send it to the VA, and they would deemably have to take that as corroborative evidence for a claim. That is no longer the case. We must put our claim on a prescribed form. So typically, anytime that you have an update in the form, a lot of times the form number never changes. The actual update in the form changes. So you may need to be able to provide additional evidence or information that they're going to accept the form. When we have access to the verbiage and understanding the verbiage of relevant evidence is going to put you at a very opinionated factor. As long as it's in the same factors, the VA should take that as relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Prepare to Compete podcast, where we talk all things VA benefits, real estate, entrepreneurship, and more. Kenneth Davis, how you feeling today, my brother?
Oh man, I'm ready to serve. Excited is the only thing I can explain how I'm feeling today. And the only reason I say that is because we have some special news for veterans.
Absolutely. So continue to like, comment, subscribe, do all those different things there. Let us know about any other topics you want to hear, or even if you have any more questions about this topic, right? You need to actually support with your claim. Need some support with your claim, definitely let us know. But we want to get into today, I may not understand it all the way, but we have the experts here, right? That's why you always have the experts here. So, there's some new changes to some CFR codes, and, Kenneth wants to break down what that actually means for your claim currently. So, Kenneth, can you kind of brief them on what code we're talking about today and just kind of the core facts regarding that?
Yeah. So what I always want to do, I know we talk about, and I really want to provide context before providing regulations, right? So context, right? Denied claims, previously denied claims. There are so many reasons why claims are denied. However, there isn't an understanding on how to get it approved. So we want to kind of provide context on certain elements on what you should actually watch out for and what you should kind of navigate when you're trying to get your previously denied claim overturned in a supplemental standpoint and also higher level review. And we can continue to go on and on, right? But in regards to that, what element I really want to go ahead and touch on today is CFR Code 3.2501, right? 3.2501. This one is very intense because we talk about it so very often. However, we don't talk about it in depthly, right? So 3.2501, it talks about new and relevant evidence. New and relevant evidence. And that's a component that you're going to need when you're trying to overturn your previously denied claim.
Absolutely. So now, so a previously denied claim. Okay, so now when you're talking about denied, you're not talking about a claim that they got 10% and they thought it should have been 50, right? So that's not under this classification.
No. There's I want you to understand, even if it's 0%, that is not a denied claim. Okay, you are simply asking for a claim for increase if your claim is 0%, right? Or rating decision, is at 0%. However, a denied claim would be non-service connected. Okay, you aren't eligible to receive service connection for that. So yes, that's again under the classifications of previously denied, non-service connection would fall into that classification.
All right, so Kenneth, that's some wonderful information. So now, if they're looking to actually apply for a previously denied condition, what form would they use?
So anytime that you're trying to apply for, I guess, overturning a previous denial, for the first basis of a supplemental claim, you would be filling out a 21 TAC 0995. Okay, that is a supplemental claims form. And let's remember, you guys, it's not like the old days, right? Where you can be able to put your claim on a napkin and send it to the VA, and they would deemably have to take that as corroborative evidence for a claim, right? And concede that to be a claim. That is no longer the case. That is no longer the case. We must put our claim on a prescribed form, okay? Again, we've had so many different types of stories and understandings that veterans, they actually have tried to call the VA and say, hey, I'm claiming X, Y, and Z. And it just doesn't necessarily work like that, right? What they're going to do, they're going to be instructed to be able to mail you out the proper form or provide you direction in regards to gathering that prescribed form. So again, that form number is 21 TAC 0995, or you can simply be able to access va.gov to be able to find your supplemental claims area. And at that point, you'll be able to fill it out and go ahead and provide where your form that's gonna, get your claim started.
Absolutely. No, that's great. So I always have questions, man. I always have questions. We're learning together. We're learning together, better together, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
now the question that I have regarding the forms, right? So sometimes I know forms do change, and we're in 2024 right now. Let's say there's a new form that came out this year. However, I'm using the old form. At what point will the VA no longer accept that previous form? Because, for example, I know the intent to file form just changed, right? It's a new form, but we're still seeing veterans using that old form because they got it from their buddy, they had it saved on their desktop, different things like that. So will the VA still accept that form?
Yeah, so typically anytime that you have an update in the form, a lot of times the form number never changes. The actual update in the form changes. So you may need to be able to provide additional evidence or information that they're going to accept the form. Sometimes some forms are so outdated that they cannot accept it. They'll go ahead and send you a new form to go ahead and complete. But 9 times out of 10, as long as it's on a prescribed form, no matter what the updates are, they'll be able to accept and then be able to reach out to be able to get the additional evidence that's needed. So again, we have the VA updates forms all the time. The intent to file form, your 526EZ. There's so many different forms that get updated so very much so because regulation changes. So we can't have old forms with new regulation. It just doesn't work out that way because we're not collecting the proper evidence.
Absolutely. Great. So now when we get back into the CFR code here, right? And now you need to have new and relevant evidence.
Yes, sir.
So what would actually be classified as new and relevant evidence for a claim?
That is a very, very good point, right? A lot of times when we're talking about new and relevant evidence, we must understand that new is pretty black and white, right? If it is new evidence that was not considered with your previously denied claim, that is going to be new, right? If they had no visibility of this document, well, it isn't new. However, when we have access to the verbiage and understanding the verbiage of relevant evidence is going to put you at a very opinionated factor, right? So understanding relevant evidence, how relevant is it to the claim? We understand that if you're trying to overturn a previous denial that is an eye condition, right? But you're submitting new evidence that is related to a knee condition or knee pain or anything outside of an eye condition, it's not going to be considered relevant. When we're speaking about relevancy, it would pertain to the same condition that was previously denied. So we must understand that relevant evidence would be considered under the same condition that was previously denied. Right? So yeah, that will kind of outline that.
Absolutely. So now when we're breaking down new and relevant, I guess I have a question here, maybe a two-part question, right? So, for the new supplemental claim process here, now does the evidence have to be both new and relevant, right? So that's one part of the question there. And then also, I guess I want a little bit more of an understanding with an example here, right? So, like, let's say I'm applying, or I guess reapplying, right? Doing a supplemental claim for a knee injury. Okay, so when I initially applied for that, it was denied, and there was some information available from a private doctor that I've seen. But however, I did not provide that to the VA at that time of when I applied. So would that, on a supplemental claim, would that be considered new evidence or would that be considered relevant evidence?
So that will actually fall in the category of both, right? It's going to be new and it's relevant to the previous claim that was denied. Okay, so I really want you to understand, as long as it's in the same factors, the VA should take that as relevant, right? However, when we are talking about relevancy, sometimes, right? And again, I say sometimes it is not always black and white. All right. So when we understand that, we want to identify what is irrelevancy, right? We understand that new, very black and white, but relevancy could fall in between the cracks. So when we're talking about relevancy, I want you to understand that it must kind of align with the same condition as prior to your denial, right? If it's knee condition, it must fall in the same line as a knee condition. However, now, when we start getting into the weeds of things, right? Understanding 3.2501, that is going to impact you because now the regulation would then state that you would then need to disprove the previous denial and understanding that previous evidence. All right. So when we are talking about the veteran community and when we're talking about the physicians that are serving us, how many of our primary care doctors are going to be willing to overturn and disprove a prior decision that they had no understanding about at that time frame? They will not. Because they will not understand what you are going through at that time. They will not put themselves in position to align themselves with going against another physician a lot of times, because again, the physician community is a physician community, and we want to always take things in a grain of salt and kind of take it as we see. But relevancy, and with the terms of relevancy, new evidence can be considered as relevant as long it remains in the same condition. With the same condition. So if it's a knee issue, it's going to be a knee issue, but it can remain new as an evidence and also relevant if it wasn't previously considered, because there are some grace that the VA allows. And these understandings are already made, right? In the WARMS manual, it will tell you that that the decision makers need to provide grace and understanding in the notes, right? And kind of unpacking 3.2501. And all that means is it's going to basically state, hey, if the veteran submits new evidence that is going to be in the same condition that was previously denied, and it is not considered, and it was not considered, and if it is in the same condition, well, is it new? Well, we would consider it relevant if it is in the same condition and wasn't considered before, and it had some impactful changes, okay? Impactful changes on the beyond its normal progression of the disability.
Okay.
All in all, so let me break it down. If you have a back injury in service, back strain, which I'm sure everyone was carrying boxes and so on, we can go on and on and on about back injuries, right? But if you have a back injury that was obtained, and then at that point in time, if at that point in time a back injury was sustained, however, you were previously denied, you don't know why you were denied, but then you wanted to go ahead years later, try to reopen that claim. So when you do so, you provide new evidence that is in regards to a back condition that specifically that develops issues beyond its normal progression, such as arthritic conditions, degenerative arthritis, nerve issues, additional pain and range of motion, so on and so forth. If that happens, well, it should be noted from your physician and could be considered new and relevant evidence in accordance to CFR 3.501. So please, please, please understand that your new evidence could be very relevant and you are possibly getting denied unfairly. And let's see how we can be able to get that overturned together.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's great. So, another thing that I want to kind of ask here is that when they're seeking the new evidence, right? And should they be going to, their private doctors, VA doctors? What is the timeline of capturing that information and things of that nature in pursuit of actually making sure they have the correct documentation?
Well, good counsel would always tell you to make sure that you're going to focus on the physician that is going to provide you with the most details of your injury, right? It doesn't matter if it is private, government, VA, non-VA, overseas physician, or it doesn't matter, right? What matters is how can you focus on the documentation to focus on the injury? It happened at the time that could focus on the injury progressing. Okay, so if you outline how the injury could have possibly progressed, which is going to need documentation. Well, with that being said, at that point, it is always going to be new and relevant. So, frankly, it doesn't matter who you go to in the sense of if it's VA, private, any type of physician of that nature. Well, just make sure that you get the correct documentation. And you get the correct documentation, you should be fine.
Okay, great. It should be fine. So now, obviously, understanding the CFR codes and making sure they get the evidence, that's one part of it, right? And sometimes veterans may need additional support and assistance with filing a claim because, frankly, they've been denied before. They want to ensure that, hey, this time they're going to get the benefits that they deserve. So, are there any particular resources that veterans may be able to offer to assist individuals with supplemental claims?
There are multiple resources that are provide informational packets that we provide, right? Also, good counsel, but also one good resources are these YouTube videos that we're providing. These educational videos that we always provide you guys are going to be so impactful towards your claims process. And a lot of times you're not going to get the value until you, again, watch towards the end, because that's where the value is. That's the meat and potatoes of things. So that is a huge resource. But a lot of times, good counsel, right? Good counsel, and also providing a understanding and a support system throughout this time frame. So that is the best resource I think you could be able to get: education, good counsel, and also a shoulder to lean on when you're going through these times, because it's not easy.
Absolutely, yeah. Good counsel. Go ahead and set up a consult, right? Free consultations available. We would love to kind of explore more and learn more about what's going on with your conditions, where you're currently rated at, and what are your goals, and seeing how we could actually help, right? Because we're not going to take on a claim and just try to work with you if we can't really support and add value to what you have going on. So we always do the consultations prior to beginning to work with you, because we want to provide that education. We want to learn more about your unique situation and really uncover on the exact specifics on how we can help. So of course you can go ahead and leave a comment here and ask questions, different things of that nature, but that's only going to be at a base level, right? You want to definitely look at the link in the description here, schedule a consultation so that we can actually learn more about your unique situation so that we can serve you.
And at the end of the day, we're here to serve. So by being that person to kind of take on service for you, it doesn't only impact us, but it also is going to impact you, and that is what we're here for. So with that being said, we're always going to provide you education, and this is one of the great places that you please like, subscribe, and every time, again, a new educational video that's going to come to you, we're going to make sure that you're one of the first ones to get it. So please subscribe, get that notification, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Prepare to compete. We're out. Peace.